Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my 2025 reading recap. So in 2025 I read 9 books. I know I didn't start getting into reading until November, December. I always loved reading but kind of put a pause on it in this new year. So I got back into it in November. So November I read 3 books. December I read 6 books. So today I'm just going to break them down and give you an in-depth review about what I thought about them. So let's go. First, let me just give a PSA. 3 is a good rating. 3 stars for me is a good rating. It didn't blow me out of the water. It didn't make me want to go purchase all my friends one, but I would recommend it. And it's just a good, easy, just kind of in the middle, didn't blow my mind away. So 3 stars is a good rating for me. 4 stars is like, okay, we're getting there. It wasn't like, but it was still really good. 5 stars, I really hold my 5 stars to a higher standard. They had to blow me away. I had to be like shocked. So that's just my little rating. I know people view 3 stars differently, but in my opinion, 3 stars is not a bad rating. Okay, so I'm going to start with the books that I read on the Kindle app. First one, we have When Forever Stays. This is one of the ones I rated 3 stars. I did like it. It was easy, short, just a really quick read. This one has some amnesia. They met like a couple months ago and they kind of dated for a week and then he disappeared. And so she was like, what's going on? And then a couple months later, she finds him washed up on the shore with amnesia. So he doesn't remember who she is, but he remembers about her. Like, I have to have dated her or been friends with her, something. And she knows who he is, but she's not telling him. And anyway, one thing leads to another. He gets his memory back, and then at the end of the book, obviously they get together. This is a clean Christian romance. No cuss words, no nothing like that. The reason I rated this 3 stars was because around like the third act breakup or whatever you want to call it, the female main character stayed mad at him for the span of like 3 months in the book. And the thing that he did wasn't even that bad in my personal opinion. So I was just like, can we get over it? Can we like get over ourselves here? Like I I can't really stand a bratty FMC. So that's kind of one of the turnoffs for me of that book. But other than that, it was well written. It was good. He did have tattoos. So he's kind of like I don't, it's a spoiler, but there is like kind of sort of like a big reveal, and that's why she gets mad at him. So, yeah. Next, we have Silent Heist. I read this one in December. This is like supposed to be a Christmas whatever. I read this because Reading Rosie, which I get a lot of my book recs from, recommended this, and she said it gives Home Alone vibes, and Home Alone is arguably my favorite Christmas movie. So I was like, okay. So the reason it gives Home Alone vibes is because this little 12-year-old girl, which I guess little, however you want to say 12-year-old, stays home while her parents go on vacation. Then her parents call her nanny and is like, hey, we didn't know she stayed home, blah, 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 blah. So then the nanny comes over and is watching her. And then this guy has to break in to get a picture that was stolen. So he's like doing the right thing, but going about it the wrong way. And he doesn't realize that the nanny and the girl are still there. And anyway, turns out the nanny was someone he was engaged to be married to in high school. And so it's kind of a second chance. It's a little bit suspenseful. There is a lot of Home Alone. Like, she sets booby traps, she does this, there's secret rooms. So I do really get the Home Alone vibes about it. The one thing I didn't like is the way that they made the little girl like scary stuff, because she would talk about horror movies, she would talk about skeletons and knives, and I just didn't like how much she talked about it. And I'm like, I get that they're trying to make her similar to the Home Alone boy, but the Home Alone boy never said anything about horror. He just knew how to do traps. So I don't know. It seems like it's kind of excessive talking about it in a way. Like they even decorated their Christmas tree and knives and skeletons, and I'm just like not really about all that. But other than that, it was super easy. No cuss words, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, this was a clean romance. This was not a Christian romance, but it was clean. So yeah. Next we have The End Dilemma. This was my first 5-star read of 2025. I ate it up. It was so good. I just flew through it, and there was points where I was like, there was points where I literally had to put the Kindle away just so I could process what I just read. He's an ex-Navy SEAL who has a glass eye and a scar, and she sort of like left town with her French boyfriend. Then the French boyfriend didn't want nothing to do with her, so then she came back, and everyone was sort of kind of mad at her because she just left town and didn't listen to what they say, because they said that this French boyfriend isn't good for you and all that. But the boy, the ex Navy SEAL, just basically forgave her really quickly and was like, hey, I missed you, blah blah blah. Brother's best friend, he loved her back whenever he would spend the night with her brother whenever she was 10 years old and he was 10 or 12 or something. Anyway, it's so good. um I just loved it. I loved the way he was protected over. I love the storyline. There's really a lot of original stuff in this. So I loved it so much. I would highly, highly recommend. This is a clean Christian romance. So I love that. Then next in the same series, we have The Trauma Response. This one is like book 2 and the other one was book 5. So I did not read them in order at all. This one was good. I think I rated it a 4 stars. It starts out with the trauma surgeon having a wreck and then a firefighter having to come rescue her. Firefighter is obviously her brother's childhood friend. They didn't really keep in contact, but I don't know. I liked it. I did. This was a clean Christian romance. Um, I It was a good. It was fast read. It was um really original. He bought her some books and he really cared for her and tried to show her how to get like back on her feet, because she was no longer going to be able to be a trauma surgeon because of the injury she suffered through the wreck. So, with that being said, the reason why I gave it 4 stars is because, like I said, I can't do a bratty FMC. And she was like, oh, the world is ending. Woe is me. And I understand. I understand if you were a trauma surgeon and then now you can't, you're going to be sad but it's like half the book. And so I'm like, I know, sweetie, but get over it. Get over it. That sounds so rough. But the fact that I know that this is just fictional is why I can say this, because I would never be saying this to an actual human. But there was just points where I'm like, can we move on? Can we move on? Now we have the physical copies. This is the books that I read in November. You can tell very fall coded. So let's start out. The first one I read was this one. I gave this a 4 stars. This one was so sweet, so good, so fall coded. Like every other page, they're doing a pumpkin carving contest, they're doing a hayride, they're doing apple orchard, they're doing pumpkin festival, they're doing pumpkin prom. Like if you want a rom-com Hallmark small town fall vibes, add this to your fall TBR, because that is exactly what it was. It follows these two who are in high school, and the girl used to live in the town but then moved away because her dad's job. But turns out her dad is kind of going through a hard time right now, so her and her mom moved back in with the aunt. So then she comes back to the town. He's still there. They kind of reconnect, and he confesses that he loved her back whenever she lived before. It's really good. The only thing about this was she was sort of bratty. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just like she was yelling at her mom, saying she hated her for moving her back to the town because she wanted to stay with her dad in New York City. And I'm just like, anyway, this is a spoiler alert, but the dad was having an affair, so that's why the mom moved away. But I want to read you this page because this is the reason why I rated it 5 stars. Her writing was beautiful. It was really easy to understand, and I did love the whole fall coded thing, especially since I was reading it in November. But page 299, this says, I hope you miss mom and me now that you've lost us. But then again, I'm not sure you can miss someone you never really knew. I walk out and slam the door closed, leaving behind the person I spent my life loving most in the whole world. So this was just good. There was cussing in here. I would rate this about a 1.52 out of 5 worth of language, but they were high school teens, and this was a young adult, so this was a clean romance. But I loved it. It was super, super cute. Loved the sprayed edges. This was the first book that me and my sister read on our little 2-person book club, and so I really loved it. Next, I rated this one 3 stars. First, before I say anything, no hate to this author. No hate to any authors. I'm not being rude. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. So, a thing about this book is me and my sister also got this one to read in our book club, fully expecting it to be a firefighter romance. But there was literally like one scene of him having something to do with firefighters because he was only a volunteer firefighter, and the rest he worked at a hardware store and was the town handyman. So I think this was really misleading to have him in a firefighter, like that was his whole persona. Um, because it literally says until a small town fireman became an unexpected hero. He wasn't a fireman, he was a volunteer firefighter, and he literally worked at his father's handyman hardware store. So that's the first thing that aggravated me. But this was clean, no cussing. One thing I did like is whenever you do text messages and you put the extra effort into doing little text messages like that. I love that. The main thing for me though, which is probably my main book ick, was repetitive writing. I'm sorry, but I can't. I feel like maybe you should have. I don't know. I feel bad for saying it. And there's no hate to this author. I would read another one of her books in an instant. I know it's probably hard to do a clean romance that people actually want to read. But there would be times where she would say the same thing, 2 lines, and then say the same thing again. And so I'm just like, I don't know. But it was a cute read. I just hate that he's in the firefighter outfit on the front. Next, we have The Getaway List by Emma Lord. This one was good. I rated this a 3 stars only because the language in here was around a 3, I would say, out of 5. There was quite a lot of language for my liking, and it was kind of hard to understand at times because they had like their own little TV show that they created or that they liked, and then it was kind of confusing. And so sometimes I had to go back and reread some points, but other than that it was sweet. They made a getaway list whenever they were young in middle school, but during high school he had to move away because his mom was a movie producer. And after she graduated, she went up to New York City where he lived so they could do the getaway list. One thing led to another. She actually found herself because she was going through a hard time. So this does have a lot of character development. And then she found him and they fell in love. They did the getaway list, all this good stuff. So I rate this a 3 stars because of the language, because it was kind of hard to understand, but the plot was really original, and there was some things that got uncovered that I was like, no way. So overall, it was a good, easy read that I would recommend. Next, we have the December paperback reads. We're gonna start with this one. This was the first Advent romance I ever read. So you basically open each thing each day. So I rated this book a 4 stars. I started December 1st, read it to December 6th, then DNF'd it, and fully believed that I would never pick it up again until around December 20th, and I was bored and I didn't have nothing else to do. So I was like, you know what? Let's just pick it up. Then read from December 6th to December 24th and ate it up and could not stop. So it was so good. This does have a little bit of language, but I'd say like 1.5, not even that bad at all. This was a closed door, so it does have mentioning of them doing something, but it doesn't give you any details. The only thing I didn't like about this is there was some innuendos that I wasn't a huge fan of. Stuff that was talked about that didn't have to be talked about. Um, but this says that it's like a young adult for 13, 14. I would say maybe closer to 15, 16, just in my personal opinion, but that's just how I was raised. But there is a lot of innuendos and comments that I think could have been left out. But the overall plot of this was really good, really original. I liked it. Um, this was best friend's brother, and the best friend had a hard time with it whenever she found it out. So I liked it. I thought it was super cute, very Christmas coded, sort of like a small town in the Alps. And so I don't know, I really did like it. I would suggest reading it. And I loved the Advent saying. That's something I never read before. I think it's so cute and just, I don't know, fun, especially if you need like to be told what to do, because this would definitely be something for you. But overall I did like it. Those were just my comments. Next. We have my last 5 star read of 2025. This right here, this is the first book I've ever annotated. And as you can see, I'm not even halfway done. But this is Dark Love. This is a clean, dark romance. I ate this up. This has 600 pages and I read it in 3 days. That's like 200 pages a day. I don't know how I did that, but it is so good. The way he protects her, he's morally gray. Like he does the right things, but in the very, very wrong ways, if you know what I'm saying. He literally killed for her before he even knew her name. So there was a lot towards the end of this book, some stuff was getting uncovered, some stuff was happening that I was just like, it was insane. This book was a roller coaster of emotion, a roller coaster of just so good. So good. This, in my personal opinion, was more about plot and story rather than romance. Of course, the main focus is romance, but this was a slow burn. They didn't even kiss till page 400. And after that they've rarely kissed and it was just simple. But this is a clean romance. um but I really like it. I would highly suggest reading this if you love a protective MMC, because a fly could not touch her without him clenching his rifle, and I love that. So I don't know, I love this book. 5 stars. There were some things that were mentioned that could not have been mentioned, like I mentioned earlier in the other book. But I would definitely read the trigger warnings. There's no trigger warnings in the front of this book, but if you Google on Goodreads, it'll give you a list of the trigger warnings because there are some heavy topics talked about in here. Nothing really gruesome or crazy, but if you experienced something, it would be hard reading about it. Up until the last page, there was stuff getting revealed that I was like, no way. So I really love this book. Definitely going to read some more of her novels, but yes. That is all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I'm so excited. I loved my reading experience this year. I'm so excited for 2026. I posted a short that's like my 2026 TBR so far. So if you want to go see that, go check it out. If y'all have any video ideas, put them in the comments down below. Thank y'all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.